Today we're going to create a monster from bits of trash I found at my place of employment, and even though it's all trash, I did get permission to pick it up and take it. I would love to hear from y'all if you have any ideas for more budget mini monsters in the future, what you think of this creation, and if you can think of a fun name for them. We're going to start today with taking these coat hangers and trying to turn it into a rib cage for our monster. I thought it'd be fun to make an entire skeleton and then build up from there. So we started out by taking a piece of what I assume is a vacuum cleaner suction thing I found on the floor, cut up some coat hanger bits, and let's make a spine. I was trying to melt all this with a small blowtorch, but it didn't seem to be heating up quick enough for my liking. So I busted out the 400 plus degrees heat gun and took caution not to burn myself with it. Found a bunch of these caps at work. I think they come off of hairspray and mousse and the such, but they all end up underneath the counters. The little white lids are from a bunch of pill bottles that we recycle into plastic bales. The little magnets are from old end caps and signages. So we're gonna have to put some glue into these and put the little magnets into each of the caps. I would like to make his arms and legs and feet and tail and all and head all detachable so I can switch them in and out just in case I make more of these guys or I upgrade his appendages. After super gluing each magnet to the bottom of the cap, I decided to fill each one of them with a liberal amount of hot glue to keep them kind of in place so that I don't have to open up the boy. Little did he know he would have to open up the boy multiple times to fix these pesky little magnets. we got all those glued up. Now it's time to try to figure out how I'm gonna stick each one of these onto the spine in a nice place. Legs, arms, head, tail. We're gonna have to let that piece dry when I get these legs on, because it was sliding all over the place with the hot glue and the heat gun really making it not want to stick. So now we're gonna work on his legs. So I found these little bottles, no lid, nothing. Found these little black pieces. I assume they come on display model cabinets and such, but they fit right into the bottle. This blue thing is a handle off of a tote, but I don't have the tote, so now I have just the handles. The little white pieces that I'm using for claws are bits of hooks you use to put end cap features on. I bought this little saw so that I could easily cut all the pieces, but it just wasn't cutting it, so I had to bust out the Dremel tool. After some work, I got them legs together, looking quite thick and chunky, and I proceeded to cut out some little squares for the bottom of his feet to cover up the little holes left from the piece of material I used. I was really thinking about giving him some toe beans for cuteness, but I couldn't figure out what piece of trash would make good toe beans without making him slide around on the counter. So I skipped those for now. I wanted to give him a short, stubby tail. The tail is made of a little piece of cardboard roll, the lid off of a NyQuil or Dayquil type thing, the lid off of a yogurt squeeze bottle, a small cap off of a hairspray, and a small cap off of, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking caulking, and then one lid of a pill bottle with a small magnet inside of it. Alright, now we got the spine and the legs complete. We're going to move on to trying to figure out how to make him a shoulder blade and some arms. Pole I got is from inside of lampshades. It kind of holds them all straight in the box. But I thought it would work well if I drilled it through, push it through, and put the little end things that came with it on it. That'd give me a base to put my magnets and my little bottle cap appendages. Alright, we moved on to the arms and the hands. So I started out by grabbing some coat hangers because I got about 30 of those. Thought about leaving him just like this and he would just have one big point as his hand and his fingers. I thought that was pretty scary, but I decided against it, and I end up putting 3 little pieces of coat hanger in each one, giving him some nice claws. And then I realized that his back legs looked real thick and chunky, and his front arms looked really nice and elongated, which gave more of a scary look. So in the end I went with that, and we're going to end up redoing his legs anyways later in the video. Alright, this is that later in the video time, only a few moments in editor world, but we're gonna end up taking off the little blue bottles, which works well if I was making a short and thick monster, but I kind of wanted them to be long, and a mixture between a frog and a velociraptor is kind of what it ends up looking like. So I end up using more coat hangers to make the bend in his leg kind of look like he's getting ready to jump, be it like a rabbit or a frog. And it kind of looks like he has like bones coming out of his kneecaps, which adds frightening to this model for sure, which is what I was going for. So I'm really happy about how the legs and feet turned out. Them arms I'm very happy with. His little stubby tail could be better, but I couldn't figure out what to do with it to make it better. So maybe in the future, I'll think of that. For some reason, I was having a weak connection with one of his legs, which is integral to keep him standing. So I had to cut it up and take it back apart, but I found out that the magnet had fell over because of the hot glue not sticking very well. So all in all, I'm happy I cut it at this point in the build and not later on, and put it all back together, and his leg stayed on just fine after this. And I think the body's looking really well. I was saving the head part for last because I knew it would be my favorite. So he's looking real good. It looks like he could really jump out of the screen or walk around. This was my favorite part of the build, making his head, so I kind of saved it for last. So these little Try Me buttons came from our string light and lamp aisle. They have little boxes with little tester things at the bottom. These little green dots are, I want to say, aquarium rocks. I don't know. I found them in the sweep up pile from maintenance. This little container is from a Harry Potter Miniverse display that I found in the trash can. I was really happy to get this, so we're going to turn it into his head. I think I'm going to make the buttons go on the bottom of his mouth and kind of look like if he had warts, but when you press it, the idea will be to have his eyes light up. So I was deciding how many eyes I wanted to give him, and I thought 6 would have been a good number. Tried cutting these little rocks in half, but my gosh, they did not want to cut in half, so I decided we'd just drill a hole straight through them and put them into the 3 eye sockets on either side, and we'd run the lights through the small little holes that I'm gonna end up drilling in it, and that way he had 6 eyes that all lit up. We ended up putting the battery pack in the bottom of his mouth and covering up with a Dean's French onion dip lid that I found under the counter. We got all the lights figured out, got his eyes in, the mouth in, and I was trying to think about what I wanted to put around the sides. So I found this little dragon head. It's been floating around the store for about 2 weeks now. So I finally decided I'd take it because I couldn't find what it went to. So I stuck those on his little ears, and he had a flat piece of the head because this display was the bottom of it was flat. So I spent tons of time trying to find the perfect piece to go there. even this little shovel. I couldn't figure out what to put there, so I end up just cutting a piece of plastic from a Pioneer Woman box for the display and put it over it, making it a flat surface. And then I went on to put these little screws you see off to the side on top, give them a real pointy view. Couldn't really get him to stand straight up with his tail, which I remember I said earlier I didn't like too much. So I made it even stubbier so that he could kind of perch on it if he wanted to sit straight up. I think he looks really interesting like this. Kind of looks like a anatomical frog display. I almost think about displaying him like this on the wall. These little white things are from the inside handle of milk cartons. Whenever we get milk, we get 1,000 of them. So they fall out when you go to grab the milk to put them up. So I found a whole bunch of these kind of hidden on the floor underneath the milk area. So I was a good Samaritan and swept them all up. They kind of remind me of mussels, which is what I was going for. So this is gonna be used to build up the base, kind of a muscle structure around the spine and the hips and shoulders that I made. I'm not really sure what this little doohickey is. It looked kind of cool, so I decided to put it as a central point in his chest and kind of give it a little display area. You can't tell in this video, but it fits inside of his rib cage, and I use it to build upon with our little milk cart and muscles. I just thought about that. The milk adding muscles to my monster is pretty funny. Thought I wanted to add a little bit more spice to his toe claws because his hand claws were so big. So I went ahead and cut up a bunch more of the coat hanger tips, just the sharp ones, and glued them onto the either side of our original little posts, and I think it turned out really well. It kind of brings how big his claws are in his hands and his feet together to be equal. And then I went ham with the milk muscles and put them all over every bit of his arms and legs to kind of give him a symmetrical overall look. originally going to cut a whole bunch of little pieces of plastic out and cover all this muscles up, but I kind of like the way it looks. So instead I took these little pieces of plastic, which are the display holders for dog and pet food, the cans, kind of gave them this robotical look, which I end up enjoying quite a bit. So I think that's the route we're going to go. We're going to go with maybe a little toy robot instead of a real looking creature. I found one more of those little lights I didn't know that I had, but I wished it was red, so I decided I'd paint it red and shove it into his chest cavity so he really gave that robot heart look. Took me a little while to figure out how to get it in there nicely, but since we were already going for the robot look, I decided to put the button somewhere on his back so I could click it easily, and it kind of looked like a red beating heart inside of our creature. no idea what this little piece of white plastic is, but it's kind of hard. So anyways, I cut it up into sharp points and kind of broke that out so I could make some teeth for our little guy. And then I glue it all to the mouthpiece and make him look real frightening. Kept moving this shovel around through the entire build because I really wanted to cut it up and put it on him because I thought it was a nice piece, but I could never figure out what to do with it. So I decided instead that I would put some magnets on it, and this could be his little tool he uses. So I magnetized his back, magnetized the shovel, and this is just gonna be his weapon of choice, or his little toy that he uses to dig through the trash to get extra parts. And that is it, friends. I really appreciate you going on this adventure with me. If you like what I do and want to see more of my creations, please like, subscribe, and create.